Hey, children fans, your pal BD back here again with a 4K box set review, and that one is for the Star Trek First 4 film collection on Blu-ray and 4K for the first time, Star Trek 1 through 4 on 4K. It does come in a box like this. I was a little better than this, but it does come in two sets. You got the Blu-ray set, which have all been remastered, and the 4K, which have obviously been remastered too. Each set's got, you know, the 4 discs, and this one is the Blu-ray. Take that out. And this is the 4K. Obviously, you know, they're all black discs. I kind of wish Paramount would have done some, you know. But that's it for that. Let's see here. Now, let's go on, because I've seen a lot of reviews of people think like this, of this set. So I wanted to do my review of it also. I'm extremely happy about this set. You know, if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know I've been screaming for these, at least some like this, or I want all of them, to come out on 4K. So it was really great when I saw that they did announce this a few months ago. Really excited about it. And as soon as I got enough money, I went out and grabbed it. I think this is really well done. There's some people, I've read some reviews out there just slamming it, saying it's this, that, and the other thing. It's not great. The visuals don't look good, and stuff like that. Whatever you want to say, that's fine. I think these movies look absolutely amazing in 4K. Now, I will admit, and I'm going to break each one down to you really quickly. I admit the fourth movie in this series, Paramount should have done is a little bit more better restoration on it. I think the 4K shines as much as the other 3 movies, but I still think it's decent. My only complaint with this set would be I wish they would have upgraded Atmos on this. The audio is the same audio from the original Blu-ray releases back in earlier of the 2000s. That bummed me out a little bit, but there was already a good audio source anyway, so it's not like it was diminished. It just, I would like a little bit more of a kick up, you know. The picture-wise on these things, let's just take Star Trek the Motion Picture first, which is probably the one that most people hate the most, Star Trek 5. I don't. I actually really like the motion picture. When I was a kid, I found it really boring, but as an adult, watching it now, I understand a lot more with Robert Weiss and what they were trying to do with the story and stuff like that, so I actually really enjoy the motion picture. I think that movie looks amazing. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Looking at screenshots from the original and this one looked absolutely beautiful. I was enthralled with the whole movie. It was like almost literally like watching the whole movie over again for the first time. Just the visuals itself were beautiful. The color, everything just looked great in 4K. I was so excited about that. Again, the audio, I'm not going to really talk about the audio because the audio is the same stuff we've had before, but visually it looked beautiful. I was so surprised with the upgrade. I think what I'm even more excited about is next year, Paramount has announced they're going to release the Robert Wise director's cut of the motion picture in 4K, which has only been available on DVD. It never even, the director's cut of a motion picture never came out on Blu-ray, at least in the States. It was only available on in a deluxe DVD set that came out years before that. So they're putting that out. I can't wait for that one because I actually like that one really too. The stuff they added in I thought was really cool. Really enjoyed it. But the motion picture looks amazing. This is definitely it's a great movie. It's a lot of fun, and it just Now we go on to Star Trek 2, which I don't think it looks really good. Don't get me wrong. I think it looks really, really good. I still think the motion picture looked a little bit better, but I think especially in the Wrath of Khan, which obviously by most people say is the best Star Trek movie of all time. I could make a case for it. I can make a case not for it. But it definitely looked better. The color tones, the skin tones, the color of the uniforms. You know, the original Blu-ray, everything looked blue. Like the walls look blue and they're not really blue. This one restores, the 4K restores that more natural grayish, kind of light gray tone to everything, which I was glad about. I don't know, the Blu-ray, the Blu-ray they put out a few years ago in that one box set, everything just looked blue to me. I could never understand. I was like, these walls aren't blue. Why is it blue? This one fixed all that. This one looks so much better. The battle sequences look great because a lot of it takes place, obviously, it all takes place in the majority of the space. The color tones look good. The grays look good. The blacks, everything just looked really good. It was really fun watching that movie as well. I was really surprised, but I knew because they'd come out with that 4K master on Blu-ray a couple years ago, the director's cut, which is in here also. So I knew that it was already going to be a decent quality because I remember that one looked really good. I'll tell you where it really went a step ahead with Star Trek 3. Now, arguably, and I'm going to say this, Star Trek 3 is probably my favorite. Now, be like, are you kidding me? 2 is the best. 4 is awesome. Star Trek 3 for me is literally probably my favorite Star Trek movie. It kind of it depends on when the day of the week where it goes flips up between 2 and 3, but I do have a tendency to go 3 a lot more because I always felt the 3 was more of a was more classic Trek. The crew getting together, breaking the rules to go help out another one of their crew members who's in trouble. You know, this felt more like classic. That's why the motion picture also felt like more like classic Trek too to me too. The big grandiose stories, you know, with the ominous, you know, being that's, you know, it felt like more like that too. But I've always had a special part for 3 because I think because of the fact it's the main crew, they rally together to go save Spock, and I always love that aspect of it. It's I always thought this was more of a family movie, not family as in the family sit down and watch it, more of a this is them as a family. They're coming together to help one of their own. And I really like that aspect of Star Trek 3. I wasn't happy as a kid when they blew up the Enterprise, but I think the 4K, looking at this, the destruction of the Enterprise in 4K was really cool. I actually watched that sequence like 3 or 4 times. It just looks so much better. It's funny. You can see a lot more of the stuff as the ship's kind of crumbling down. You're watching deck plating and hull plating kind of crumbling and breaking. It was neat to watch that stuff. It was neat to see some of the you can see a couple more of the mistakes that are in there, like little thoughts. I'm a modeler. I love to build models. I build a lot of Star Trek models. I don't really have anything. There's one over there, but I can't really grab it right now. But I do. Matter of fact, you can kind of see over in the corner over there. I got a couple things going on right now. I can't really see it. But I built a Star Trek model, so it was neat to see some of the stuff in there because that was a model. That ship that they blew up was a model, and they did all that stuff. So it was neat to kind of see that. I was okay. So I liked it. It just looked really, really good. I was more blown away with Star Trek 3 than I was any of the other movies in the set. And I like the other movies in the set, but this one to me, because it has such a special place in my heart, because I do love it so much, that it was just so much fun to watch, to get back into the ship, to steal the ship, to have the Excelsior following him. Just that scene, it looked really good. That whole scene where they're coming out of the space dock and they're swooping around and coming about ready to go into warp speed, and the Excelsior's right behind them trying to close in. It just looks beautiful. I felt they did such a good job with it. Again, I would love to have Atmos in that point to hear some of the other stuff. Like, you know, I tell you what, one of the coolest things about this is when they upgraded this stuff to Blu-ray back in the day, it was neat for the first time to really, when you watch the movie and you turn on all your entire surround sound system, to hear the humming of the engine as the ship's going along. I always thought was really neat. Again, they didn't do anything with the upgrade, but it's still with a better picture and that hum and that extra audio. Just God, 3 was just awesome. I really enjoyed it. Now going into 4, I had the same expectation, and I feel like there is some definite. I went back and looked at the original Blu-ray after I watched 4 on 4K, and there's definitely some upgrades to the original. They definitely cleaned up some of the color issues, stuff like that. I just feel like it was a crisp and how good it could look. There's still a few scenes in the movie that I felt should have looked better, and was a little bit like kind of curious why it didn't look better. Or, I think this movie would have definitely benefited from the Atmos because of the whole with the whales and the probe, and the planet being kind of destroyed as the probe is looking for the whales, stuff like that. Watching those ships in space, kind of all of a sudden losing power and stuff. I think the 4K could have flushed out a little bit more. I kind of felt like when they got to 4, they were kind of just rushing it to make sure to get the box set out in time. So, although it definitely looks better, especially some of the scenes on Vulcan at the beginning of the movie, I like the color palette looked a lot better. Backgrounds looked better. But I think overall, there's still some work to be done on 4, but still a lot better than it did on the original Blu-ray. In that one, these Blu-rays, the Blu-rays that are in this box set they're the master, and then they're mastered on top of this. So the master they have for this, which is basically the same as this, looks really good. You could actually get away with 4 without getting on 4K and be okay. The other 3, I think 4Ks are much better. This one, I think it looks about the same. Star Trek 4 looks about the same on the Blu-ray as it does the 4K. But right now, you can only get this in a box set anyway, so it would come along with it if you got the box set. But I don't care what everybody says. If I was to rate this box set, I'd give this box set a solid 8 out of 10. Being that my biggest criticism is being a couple of movies, 4 could have been upgraded a little bit more. And there's a couple of things they could have done with, like, the other 3 movies, probably tweak a little bit, and who knows, they may go back someday and do that. What I'm curious about, though, is this is the first 4 movies. I have not seen anything to say whether they're working on 5 and 6, let alone, I take that back. I did hear some sort of rumor that there was, like, they were working on First Contact, but that was a while ago I'd seen that, so I don't know. I would imagine what they'll end up doing is, what kind of thing they're going to do is, they'll release another box set down the road a bit, which will probably have like the motion picture director's cut, and probably have 5 and 6 in there. to complete the whole, Kirk Spock, 6-movie series. And then I would imagine a little bit down the road they'll come out with all 4, like this set, all 4 of the Next Generation movies in a 4K box set. I'm hoping. I don't know. We'll see. It's whatever Paramount wants to do. Paramount does do a good job, and they do. I think for a while that they weren't treating Star Trek like Star Trek deserved to be treated. I mean, it's got to be a cash cow for them. It has to be. I mean, this year marks 55th anniversary of Star Trek. Even Star Wars hasn't gone on that long yet. So, it's got to be making some money. So, obviously, with the new series and all the stuff that they're doing now, we got like 4 or 5 active series. So, they're obviously grabbing a hold of a lot more and really working with a lot more. I just hope they go back and do justice to the rest of the Star Trek movies that are out in the franchise. Now, I'm not talking about the JJ verse ones. The JJ verse ones all have 4K. All have 4K when they're released. Those are fine. It's just these older titles they still need to work on. So, I'm really hoping that we do see 5 and 6 eventually in 4K. I know we're getting the motion picture director's cut in 4K, and then eventually seeing the Next Generation movies in 4K too. Because I specifically think that, especially First Contact and even Generations. I really enjoyed Generations. So, do I think Kirk should have gone out that way? No, but hey, I think those look really good, especially the scene with the Enterprise, the secondary hull, and then cells of that blowing up, and then the saucer section and primary hull, crashing on the planet. I think it would be really neat to see in 4K to flesh out more of those colors and more of that get that better contrast between the blues and the grays and the black, stuff like that. I think it would look amazing. So I'm hoping those are going to be worked on. But that is it. I love this set. I don't care what anybody says. Am I biased? Yeah, I'm biased. I will believe it. I'm biased. Jesus Christ. How much do I love Star Trek? It's everywhere. My shirt. He's dead, Jim. I got Star Trek pins in my hat. You can only see some of this stuff in my room. I'm looking at, I just picked up the Kirk mirror figure the other day in Funko Pop. So I am biased. But I think even just looking at it from the point, even pulling back from that and trying not to be as biased as possible, this is definitely worth it. I would imagine as you get closer to Christmas, I want to say it was like 70, 80, but I think I got this for 60. But, eventually I think what you're going to end up finding is, I bet you for Christmas it'll be $30. I would pick it up. I would definitely pick it up if you're a fan, or if you want to just see some good sci-fi and 4K. This is definitely something to grab, and I would definitely grab it when you get a chance. Don't listen to those other reviewers. Experience it for yourself. I'm somebody that's always like, I'll look at people's reviews, but I'll still go, I'm going to go see it anyways. I'm going to check it out anyways, because necessarily what I like, everybody else might like, and vice versa. So, that is it on Star Trek, the first 4 movies in 4K. I know it was a really quick review. I wanted to see a little bit more, but I just want to get that out there because I was tired of hearing negative reviews about it, because I really liked it. But that is it. Like, subscribe, the bell. Leave me some comments if you picked it up. I'm happy to go toe to toe with you and talk about this. So, sorry it took so long to get this out. I watched all 4 movies, and then I went back and watched them all on the original Blu-rays because I wanted to see the differences. So it took a while to get through, essentially, which is 8 movies. So, yeah, that is it. Again, thank you guys so much. Please take care. Always keep hunting, because you never know what you're going to find. You should have seen what I found the Goodwill the other day. And as always, live long and prosper. Bye.